Today there is a lot of discussion going on about the privatization or rather disinvestment in the Vizag steel plant. A lot of people are saying it is self-respect of Andhras. It was a right for which we fought. It was a right for which we have given our blood, so it cannot be taken away from us and it should continue in the public sector. I do remember 1966 as a very, very young boy and a student just finishing my primary school and coming to the high school or secondary school, 6th class. And one day suddenly the classes were not there and I was told there is one Amrut Rao who is going on a fast unto death for Vizag steel plant and the whole state is going on strike in support of him. This strike went on for a few days and suddenly one day we see in the news the then Chief Minister Kasu Brahmananda Reddy gave a glass of lemon juice to Mr. Amrut Rao and he has stopped his fasting and the whole agitation was over and there was from next day onwards classes went on well. In the process during those few days there were firings here and there and some people lost their lives. After that, it took another 4 or 5 years before it was announced by the then Prime Minister, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, somewhere in 1970s, and the actual work started in 80s, and it was ready by about 1990, and I think the then Prime Minister, Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao, inaugurated this plant. From then onwards, like all other PSUs, it has its own problems of inefficiencies, corruption, etc. And in some years, it had some profits, but most of the years it was in loss, but cumulatively it is in loss. So that is where it stands, and now this government is coming up with this policy of disinvestment in the steel plant. This plan of disinvestment is not something that this government has started. It has started from the time of P.V. Narasimha Rao Garu itself, because these commanding heights, this is what is the broader philosophy which led to the establishment of these steel plants and other heavy engineering and machinery firms was based upon the 1956 industrial policy of Jawaharlal Nehru, where it was mentioned that all these capital incentive industries and what are known as commanding heights which require huge investments and are critical to the economy will only be in the government sector. That's how we established Rourkela steel plant, Durgapur steel plant, Bhilai steel plant, HMT, BHEL, Bharat Heavy, Earth Movers and all these big companies. So that was the policy. That was the policy under which this Vizag steel plant also came. But slowly by about 80s, 90s, it's realized they are not running efficiently. There's a lot of corruption. They are not even leave alone giving a return, they are actually incurring year-to-year losses which have to be borne by the people in terms of taxes or such which are diverted to sustain these public sector undertakings. So when the economic reforms came, because the Indian economy was not able to sustain itself, one of the areas that was earmarked for reform was disinvestment in these public sector undertakings. It all started with P.V. Narasimha Rao, continued by Manmohan Singh, continued by Vajpayee, again continued by Manmohan Singh. The same thing is being followed by Narendra Modi now. But now this government has come with a clear disinvestment policy where they bifurcated these firms into two government companies. One, non-strategic and strategic. Non-strategic, all of them will be disinvested. Strategic, some will be retained with the government and some will be disinvested. As part of this policy, today the Vizag steel plant is slated for disinvestment. Are they doing it specifically to Vizag steel plant? No. This is a broad policy in which a lot of disinvestment is happening. Air India is privatized. Disinvestment is done. Even within steel, before Vizag, they have disinvested in Neelanchal project in Orissa. Then the Boreas did not say it's a self-respect for us and it's our right, it cannot be disinvested. It's now disinvested, taken over by Tatas and Tatas are running it, Neelanchal Steel. So this is also now slated for disinvestment. Cumulatively, when you have losses and you don't have surplus to invest, today this Vizag Steel Plant has a capacity of about 7 million tons. But to run commercially well, it needs a minimum of 20 million tons, which means another 13 million tons additional capacity has to be added, which requires about 60-70,000 crores, which the government does not have to invest. It doesn't have that much of a money. It's not investing anywhere. So where do you get that money? You don't get that money. So at 7 million tons, it's not profitable. Long run, it will keep on incurring losses. After 5-10 years, the option would be to close it down because nobody will come to buy it also. Is that a better option? Or today, when it is running enterprise, disinvesting is a better option? This is something that people will have to think it over. Of course, some keep saying that captive mines would make them profitable. Whether it could make profitable or not, somebody has to make a study and then say. It can't be offhand remark. Second, even today, if you disinvest, whoever is taking it will not get a captive mine. So you will also have to buy it in the open market, iron ore and other things, and then run it. So if it is working out profitable for him, how can it not be profitable when it is in public sector undertaking, unless the problem is one of efficiency and corruption? So these are the issues that need to be addressed and answered. In fact, today, the right questions to ask from anybody from Andhra Pradesh on this issue would be whether the tender conditions contain the following points: whether the incoming private investor has committed to expand it from 7 million tons to 20 million tons or above within a time frame of 4, 5 or whatever is the years. On that, there should be a clarity. 2, has he given a commitment to ensure that all the benefits that are coming to the staff are maintained at that level all through their employment with the steel plant? That's the second point. Third, it has a land bank of about 10 to 15,000 acres of land. That should not go to the private investor. Private investor, whoever is coming, should only be given the land that is contingent required for running the steel factory. The other land bank which is there with the steel plant should be hived off into a special purpose vehicle under the government and developed, and the benefits of it reaped by the government. That's another very, very important point that should be asked by people. And all those dispossessed people, because of the establishment of steel plant, who did not get a benefit till now, should be made equity holders there, so that the development of land, whatever is the profit that is coming or the benefit that is coming, they also share along with it. So those are the correct questions that needs to be answered, not saying that we don't allow the disinvestment to happen. That's not the right approach, nor is it the right approach which is beneficial to Andhra Pradesh. These questions are questions that will benefit the state if at all the disinvestment process goes through. Andhra Pradesh has this peculiar problem. We never address ourselves on the relevant points. This happened even when the AP state reorganization was happening. Even at that time, for the political parties, the media and the intellectuals, the right thing would have been, okay, in any case it's going to happen whether we support it or oppose it. So let's get the best out of it. One should have made a very strong pitch for a share in the resources of Hyderabad, better division of the assets. All these things should have been issues that should have been asked and addressed, but nobody asked them. And now the state is the sufferer. Even now, the process is going to happen. So opposing it is not going to help the state. But if you don't ask these specific questions, if Government of India errs on any of these things, then the loss will be that of the Andhra Pradesh state. So that's what is the requirement. That's the right issues to be answered, agitated, and then you should make Government of India commit themselves to put these conditions before going in for disinvestment. Then the disinvestment is going to be to the advantage of the state, not to the disadvantage of the state. After all, when we fought, what is that we fought? We fought Vishakha Ukku, Andhrul Hakku. Even today, Vishakha Ukku is Andhrul Hakku. Nobody is taking it away from there. It's going to stay there. We didn't fight for Vishakha Ukku, Prabhutva Vishakha Ukku, Prabhutva Rangallo Vishakha Ukku, Andhruలకు was never the slogan then, nor is it required at that time. Whatever came has to come in public sector because that's the stated policy. Today the stated policy is different. So policy issues, why should people take it as something that is right or some such thing? Right is, the Vizag Steel is our right. Expanded Vizag Steel is our right. Properly running Vizag Steel, generating surplus, giving employment is our right. That is what we should fight for. Thank you.